Welcome back, everyone, to another explainer. Today, we're diving into a place that literally promised absolutely no escape. Just imagine for a second being locked inside a massive fortress built on a lonely island, surrounded by these freezing, deadly currents. The guys who entered this place, they knew one terrifying truth. They might leave in a coffin, but they were never, ever leaving as free men. We're talking about Alcatraz.
But you know, what really happened behind those thick concrete walls? Today, we're unpacking the dark truths that defined America's most infamous prison. And we're going to explore the surprising, and I mean really surprising reasons that eventually forced the US government to shut down this terrifying fortress for good.
Okay, let's dive into this. They called it the Rock. Basically, it was a maximum security federal prison sitting on an isolated island smack in the middle of San Francisco Bay. And it was known not just for those inescapable waters, but for this extreme, absolutely crushing psychological pressure. It wasn't just a prison, really, it was this ultimate symbol of fear, designed specifically to break the unbreakable.
Section 1. America's most feared prison.
So long before it became the prison we all know, Alcatraz actually served as an isolated military fort. Its strategic location out there in the bay made it the absolute perfect government tool to keep people completely severed from society. Then, in 1934, the government capitalized on that extreme isolation. They transformed the island into a maximum security federal prison built from the ground up to keep society's worst completely away from the public eye.
So who exactly was getting sent here? Well, it definitely wasn't your run-of-the-mill criminals. We're talking hardcore gangsters, bank robbers, murderers, and notorious escape artists. Basically, guys who had caused severe, unmanageable trouble in other facilities. The rule was pretty simple. If prison officials couldn't control you anywhere else, you were sent to Alcatraz. And once you stepped off that boat, your life would change forever.
Section 2. Life inside the rock. Picture this. Imagine your entire world shrinking down to a tiny concrete box. Inside, you've got a bed, a sink, a toilet, and a tiny shelf. That is literally it. Zero privacy, absolutely no freedom. Just think about what it does to a person, watching every ounce of your hope slowly drain away while you're trapped in this tiny concrete box in the middle of the ocean.
And their day? It was an endless, super strict loop. You wake up, you eat, you work, you return to your cell. Then you repeat it, again and again, day after day, year after agonizing year. The sheer, unrelenting repetition of this schedule was actually a psychological weapon all on its own. It literally drove some of the toughest men on the planet to absolute desperation.
Because here's the thing, the prison's most powerful weapon actually wasn't violence. It was isolation. Complete and total isolation. Imagine the sensory and psychological torture of staring at those exact same walls every single day, listening to the freezing cold bay wind howling outside. And the most maddening part? Knowing your family and a bustling, vibrant city were just a couple miles away, but they were completely and utterly unreachable.
Section 3. Breaking the biggest mobsters.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how it handled the big guys. Take Al Capone. Before Alcatraz, the guy was a legend, right? He basically ruled Chicago's underworld, famously using his immense wealth and influence to manipulate guards and just run his empire from behind bars in other prisons. But inside Alcatraz? Wow, his power meant absolutely nothing. The system completely stripped away his legendary status. He got zero special privileges and was treated exactly like every other inmate. He became just another broken prisoner. Alcatraz was designed to destroy reputations, and man, it succeeded flawlessly.
Section 4. The impossible 1962 escape.
So, officially, the government maintains that no prisoner ever escaped successfully. Dozens tried over the years, of course, and they either drowned in those freezing waters or they were caught almost immediately. But one attempt remains America's greatest mystery. The 1962 plan, hashed by Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers, well, it changed absolutely everything we thought we knew about the Rock.
The preparation for this is just mind-blowing. For months, they secretly crafted these homemade digging tools out of smuggled spoons and discarded metal. And to fool the night guards doing their routine checks, get this, they actually created highly realistic fake heads made out of soap, toilet paper, and real human hair they swept up from the prison barbershop. I mean, it was an astonishing level of detail and patience, all happening right under the guards' noses.
Okay, so here is how they actually pulled it off. First, they slowly dug through the crumbling concrete of their cell walls using those homemade tools. Next, they placed the decoy heads in their beds to buy themselves some crucial time. Then they literally slipped right through the walls, navigated through these hidden, unused utility passages, climbed all the way up to the roof, and just disappeared into the darkness. When morning finally came and the guards realized they had been completely tricked, it triggered one of the largest FBI manhunts in American history.
Section 5. Why Alcatraz really closed.
And this brilliantly illustrates the irony of it all. The real issue that brought Alcatraz down was a total logistical nightmare. Every single necessity, we're talking every piece of food, every gallon of fresh water, every daily supply, had to be shipped in by boat. Running an isolated island fortress is just incredibly expensive. In the end, it was money, not the criminals, that defeated Alcatraz. It simply cost way more to operate than any other federal prison on the mainland. So, by the early 1960s, the government looked at the books and deemed the facility completely impractical. The math just didn't make sense anymore. So in 1963, after nearly 3 decades of serving as the ultimate end of the line for America's worst criminals, the prison officially closed its doors forever. Just like that, the terrifying era of Alcatraz had finally come to an end. Today, tourists walk those silent corridors. They peek into the tiny cells wondering about the men who lived there. But honestly, the legend of Alcatraz is still totally dominated by those 3 men who vanished in the night. The FBI never found Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers, which leaves us with this huge, lingering question. Did they die in those freezing waters, or did they actually accomplish the impossible? I guess the greatest mystery of Alcatraz isn't what happened inside the prison, but what happened after the escape. Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and, well, I'll leave you to ponder that mystery until next time.